Have you ever felt unsteady getting out of bed in the morning? Have you hesitated to step over a small puddle, afraid of losing your balance? Or paused in the middle of a crosswalk, unsure if your legs could carry you safely to the other side? I'm Elder's Corner Channel, and today I want to share with you a simple truth. One that could change the way you walk, stand tall, and feel secure in your daily life. In over 25 years of working with older adults, I've witnessed remarkable transformations. Not from pills, not from the gym, but from a simple exercise that you can do right in your kitchen. In this video, you'll learn why losing balance isn't caused by weak muscles, how standing on one leg can help your brain reprogram your ability to stay steady, and a step-by-step guide to help you start today, safely, easily, and without any special equipment. Let's begin this journey together, where every stable step brings you closer to confidence, independence, and safety in every moment of your life. But first, I have a simple question for you. Can you stand on one leg for 10 seconds? It's okay if you can't, because just a few minutes from now, you'll know exactly how to get there. Let's get started. When an older adult falls, most families assume the same thing. It must be muscle weakness. But here's the truth. It's not that simple. Balance issues are not primarily caused by weak muscles. They often come from a complex system in your body involving the brain, nervous system, and spatial awareness. More specifically, it's something we call proprioception, your body's ability to sense where it is in space. When you're young, you can close your eyes and stand on one leg without much effort. But as we age, signals from the feet, eyes, and inner ear begin to weaken. If those signals don't coordinate well, it can feel like you're standing on shifting ground, even when the floor is flat. I remember one of my patients, Gerald, age 76. He was a former gym teacher, used to run and play sports. But in his 70s, he started feeling like the floor was moving under him. Even though his muscles were strong, he lost confidence in crowded places or when stepping off a curb. He wasn't weak. He had lost the ability to feel where his body was, and that's incredibly common. When your brain no longer gets clear information about your body's position, it responds by limiting movement, like a car applying the brakes to avoid an accident. You walk slower, take shorter steps, and eventually shuffle instead of walking confidently. If you only focus on building muscle but ignore balance training, you're missing the most critical part. Balance is a skill, and like any skill, it can be relearned. So why is it that many seniors feel worse even when they're doing common exercises? Let's talk about that next, as we uncover one of the biggest myths about squats and calf raises. You might be surprised to learn these go-to moves aren't actually helping your balance. Let's talk about two of the most popular exercises recommended to older adults: squats and calf raises. You've probably heard this advice before. Do squats to strengthen your legs. Do heel raises to improve your ankles. And while those exercises are helpful for building strength, here's the truth. They do very little, if anything, to improve your balance. Why? Because balance is not just about strength. It's about how well your body responds when it's off-center. How quickly your muscles, joints, and brain communicate to keep you upright. Let me give you a real example. A few years ago, I worked with a client named Patricia. She was 80, did squats every morning, and could easily lift groceries. But despite strong legs, she had trouble stepping onto a sidewalk. One day she tripped stepping out of her car, not because her legs weren't strong, but because her body wasn't used to reacting to sudden shifts in position. Squats train the muscles to move in a straight, predictable motion. But balance by nature is unpredictable. It's messy. It changes every time you walk on grass, or step into a moving elevator, or turn your head quickly. That's why static strength is not the same as dynamic stability. Here's a small but powerful lesson. You can be strong and still fall. What you need is to challenge your balance in ways that mimic real life. And that leads us to the one activity that I've seen make the biggest difference. Not just in theory, but in real results with my clients. It's simple, it's free, and you can do it safely at home. Let's explore that next. How standing on one leg can rewire your brain for balance. Now let's talk about the real fix for balance problems. And it might surprise you. It's not a fancy piece of equipment. It's not a long workout. It's one simple skill: learning how to shift your weight, When most older adults walk, they don't actually walk in the full sense. They shuffle. That's because they're afraid. Afraid to lift one foot, afraid they'll lose control. So without realizing it, they keep their weight centered between both feet at all times. But here's the thing. Real walking requires shifting your weight fully onto one leg so the other can swing forward. If you never practice that shift, your brain forgets how to do it. And when it forgets, it compensates by making your steps smaller, your posture stiffer, and your walking pattern less stable. Let me tell you about Mr. Harold, 78, one of my clients. He hadn't fallen yet, but his family noticed he walked like he was bouncing on a tightrope. During our session, I asked him to try standing on one foot while holding the back of a sturdy chair. At first, he couldn't even lift the other foot off the ground. But with encouragement, he tried again. This time, focusing not on lifting the foot, but on shifting his weight to the leg he was standing on. That made all the difference. In just 2 weeks of short daily practice, he was able to stand on one leg for 10 seconds. And more importantly, he started walking with confidence again. Don't start by lifting your foot. Start by shifting your weight. That's the true foundation of better balance. In the next section, I'll show you the exact step-by-step method to do this safely at home, using only a chair or kitchen counter, and how it can begin rewiring your brain from the very first try. Let's move on to the most powerful balance drill I've ever taught, standing on one leg. Now that you understand the importance of weight shifting, let's talk about the single most powerful way to retrain your balance, standing on one leg. Yes, it's that simple, but don't let the simplicity fool you. This exercise taps into something much deeper than strength. It activates the brain, it trains your nervous system, and most importantly, it rebuilds your confidence from the ground up. Here's how it works. When you stand on one leg, your brain is forced to focus. Every muscle from your toes to your hips must coordinate in real time. Your inner ear, your vision, your sense of touch, they all engage to keep you upright. This is not just physical training. This is neural reprogramming. Let me tell you about Mrs. Lorraine, age 82. She was terrified of falling, wouldn't go out alone. But every morning she stood at her kitchen counter and tried to balance on one foot. At first, just 3 seconds, then 5. Within a month, she could stand for 20 seconds without holding on. But more than that, she started going out again, to the park, to the store. She said, "I feel like my legs are talking to my brain again." Here's the beauty of it. You don't need equipment. You don't need a trainer. You just need a few minutes, a sturdy surface, and the willingness to try. Here's a small but powerful tip. Start with a chair or kitchen counter. Lift one foot just an inch off the ground. Focus not on the leg in the air, but on the one you're standing on. Shift your weight and breathe. If you lose balance, that's okay. It's part of the process. Balance isn't built through perfection. It's built through practice. In the next section, I'll show you how repetition, even if it's messy, is the secret to rewiring your balance for the long run. Because the more you fail safely, the faster you improve. When an older adult loses their balance, they often think, "I'm weak now. I just can't do what I used to." But that's not the end of the story. In fact, your brain can relearn, adapt, and grow stronger, no matter how old you are. This process is called neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to create new connections and adjust to new actions and environments. That means every time you try to stand on one leg, even if you wobble or fail, your brain is still learning. It records the effort, it makes adjustments, and with each repetition, you are remapping how your body stays balanced. Let me tell you about Mrs. Ellen, 84th. In the beginning, she couldn't even imagine standing on one leg for 2 seconds. She said, "I'll fall if I try." But I told her, "We're not training for success, we're training to fail safely and learn from it." Each time she wobbled and grabbed the counter, she wasn't failing. She was sending a message to her brain. "Adjust, remember this." And slowly she stopped needing her hand for support. Every time you lose balance, it's not a failure. It's a lesson for your brain. And your brain is listening. Think of how toddlers learn to walk. They fall hundreds of times, but no one calls them weak. Then one day they just walk. It's the same for adults. We simply have to give ourselves permission to relearn without judgment. In the next section, I'll show you how to track your progress and why just a few seconds a day can create meaningful, lasting changes. You don't have to train hard, you just have to train right and consistently. One of the most important parts of balance training isn't how much you do, it's knowing how far you've come. Because when you're starting from zero, even gaining 1 or 2 extra seconds of balance is a victory. And those small wins, when noticed and repeated, can lead to big, meaningful change. So how do you track progress? It's simple. Set clear milestones: 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and eventually 20 seconds without holding on. Take quick notes after each session. How long did you stand? Did you need support? Did you feel more stable? At the end of each week, look back and you'll say, wow, I've come farther than I thought. I had a patient, Mr. Bill, age 79. In the first week, he stood for 4 seconds while holding on. In week 2, he stood for 6 seconds without holding on. By week 4, he told me, I just stepped up the front porch without grabbing the railing. That's not just a number, that's freedom. You don't have to do anything huge to create big results. All you need are small, consistent steps and progress that matters to you. And to make those changes last, you'll need to understand one final truth: why simplicity becomes your greatest strength as you age. Let's explore that together in our final part. Back to basics: why simplicity wins as you age. You've come a long way on this journey, from understanding why balance fades, to learning how to reawaken your brain's control system, and most importantly, realizing that you absolutely can improve. So what's next? Start today, right where you are. You don't need to wait for more time, fancier equipment, or perfect conditions. You just need a sturdy chair, a flat surface, and 3 minutes a day to practice standing on one leg. Don't underestimate those 3 minutes. Just ask Mr. James, 81 years old. He started with exactly 60 seconds each morning. At first he wobbled, he gripped the counter tightly, but he stuck with it. 3 minutes a day, no more. And after 2 months, not only was he standing steadier, he was finally confident enough to take his dog for a walk at the park, something he hadn't done in nearly a year. Big changes don't begin with grand resolutions. They begin with one small step, repeated daily. And sometimes that first step is just standing still, but standing strong. So I encourage you, right after this video, to stand up, hold on to your kitchen counter or a sturdy chair, and try standing on one leg. Count how many seconds you can hold. Write that number down. Try again tomorrow. One day you'll look back and say, I did it. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend or family member, someone who deserves to feel safer and more independent every day. And if you'd like more gentle, easy-to-follow guidance like this, don't forget to subscribe. There's so much more ahead, and your new journey begins right now. We've taken a simple yet meaningful journey together. You've learned that balance loss isn't because you're weak, that squats aren't the full solution, and that shifting your weight and standing on one leg are the true keys to reuniting your brain and body. You've also seen, through the stories of Harold, Ellen, and James, that age isn't a barrier, it's simply part of your path to adaptation. Change starts with the smallest of steps: 3 minutes a day, one solid stance, and a little patience. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You just need to begin, even if it's wobbly, slow, or just a few seconds at a time. And if you've ever felt afraid to walk, hesitant to go outside, or thought, I wish I were like I used to be, remember this: you can regain your confidence. One stand, one breath, one practice at a time, right from home. Now I invite you to do 3 simple things. 1. Try it today. Stand on one leg by your kitchen counter. Even 5 seconds is a start. 2. Write down your first result. Don't forget it. Note it down and check back in 1 week. 3. Share this video. Someone you care about, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, might be waiting for exactly this kind of guidance. If this video helped you, please subscribe to the channel because I'll be sharing more exercises soon. Easy, safe, and designed especially for older adults. Thank you for spending this time with me. And remember, as long as you're practicing and still hopeful, it's never too late to stand strong again.